Hello everybody and welcome to, I don't know what to call this, to be honest. We're looking at the URC. We're 5 rounds in, almost a third of the way in. It's a third of the way in next week. Now I probably should actually do this next week then, but oh well, we're 5 rounds in. We've had a look at each team. They've all played 5 games. They've all played a range of teams from all over. They've played teams near the bottom and the middle at the top. All teams have, so we know where each of them are at the start of the season. Now this is not to say, take a team like Sharks, who are dead last. They've not won a single game yet. This is not to say that, in the next 5 games they can't win all 5 and probably climb up to a more respectable position. But for now, they're there. So this is kind of a early URC form, I suppose you could call it. But yeah, now looking at the start, it's the Irish and Scottish teams that are dominating at the minute. All of the top 6 teams include the 4 Irish and 2 Scottish teams. All bar one of them are 4 wins and 1 loss. That one who's not is Munster, who's 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. So it's not as if they're, drastically different. But you look, Munster in 6th is as close to Leinster in 1st, points wise, as they are to Benetton in 8th. So, all the top teams, they're pulling away a little bit. You've got the order. You go Leinster top, Glasgow 2nd, Ulster 3rd, Connacht 4th, Edinburgh 5, Munster 6. And then you're down Bulls in 7, Benetton 8. Then you look below that, and there is another gap to Stormers in 9th, Zebra in 10th, Ospreys and Cardiff in 11th and 12th, and Lions in 13th, and then another gap to Dragons, Scarlets and Sharks. Now you can say another little gap to Dragons and Scarlets, then Sharks. Now again, those gaps aren't that big. When I say a gap, I'm talking 3 or 4 points. But it's a noticeable gap. Stormers are now a bonus point win away from the top 6. So if the top 6 keep winning, they'll all just pull away. Now I know they've not played each other that much. They have actually. You look, Ulster, Munster's played, Edinburgh's played Connacht and Leinster, Glasgow's played Connacht and Leinster. But yeah, it's interesting to see. Just now, I did do a video on what went wrong for the South Africans. It was about this time last week, and I basically said, don't worry. And the week after this, last weekend, none of the South African teams won. Don't worry, but you're all losing. I still say don't worry. You're still okay at the minute. If all the South African teams still are not winning in another few rounds, say, you've got 2 rounds in Europe, if they still go into Europe, not, and the Scottish and Irish teams have pulled even further ahead, which I doubt, but you never know, then you might want to start getting a little bit worried. But yeah, I didn't actually know, and now I will try and put kind of a print of the whole table up so you can kind of see where your team are and what points they're on. But yeah, it's looking interesting. I think it's going to be quite tight. Sitting here at the minute, there's 6, I'll say 7 and include the Bulls, who are 2 points off of Munster. Teams who are still probably able to push first quite easily at this moment in time. You look, Bulls are 5 points off, so you're thinking, even a win probably won't get them up if all the other teams lose, but then, you jump to Munster, who are only 3 points behind, who are looking slightly better. Yeah. Now we'll have to look. going in, you know, the next few rounds before Europe, you know, you've got next round, some of the big teams are playing each other. Bulls are playing Connacht, so, you know, now this is in South Africa, which would give the Bulls an advantage, but if you've got to think, if Connacht can win that game, that will knock the Bulls basically away from the top 6 and push them even further ahead. Leinster, Munster, again, that might push Munster out a little bit if they can't pull that one off. Glasgow, Ulster, now both of those two teams are sitting slightly more comfortably, but whoever loses that game will take a huge dump. So yeah, is that the only top 6 team isn't really playing? Let me get this right, because I don't want to be wrong. Yeah, the only top 6 team who's currently in the top 6 who's not playing another team from the top 7 is Edinburgh, who's playing Benetton, who's in 8th, so it's not that different, but it's still, you know. So there's a good chance for lots of teams here to kind of catch, you know, Stormers have a good chance to catch up on a couple of them. They're playing Cardiff, it is in Wales, so equally Stormers could drop considerably. But as I said, Bulls are playing Connacht. So I think this next week is mightily important, these next 2 weeks, sorry, are mightily important before Europe to kind of look at early what's going to be the trend for the season. But at the minute, the Scottish and Irish teams are starting to pull ahead a little bit, which is quite, I'm not surprised, but it is a little bit surprising at how well they're all doing. The fact that, you know, all Scottish and all Irish teams have all only lost 1 game each is, after 5 rounds, is actually quite incredible. Now I know this video was probably a little bit all over the place, because again I was jumping around a lot. I just get a random thought when I talk. I think I have a script and then I'll just start talking and keep talking, which is good because it shows that, you know, I get to put out my opinion if I'm just talking instead of just reading off a script that can make you sound a little bit robotic, you know. But yeah, that's my personal opinion. Let me know your thoughts, and yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you like, make sure to subscribe. I do have a Twitter. I am just started on TikTok. I was setting that up this morning, so please go and check them out. If you've enjoyed, subscribe. Until next time, I shall see you later.